I'm Miss Makisha.
And I'm Miss Ashley. Welcome back to
OSC Kids at Home. We're so thankful you joined us today. Miss Ashley, we've made it to June and it's summertime.
That's right, Miss Makisha. And with the new season comes a new theme.
All summer long, we'll be talking about faith. What is faith?
Well, faith is trusting what you can't see because of what you can see.
Today's story is different people in the Bible who choose to believe that God had great plans for their lives, even when they couldn't see it. They had faith.
Faith is one of the most important things we can have as Christians. We're so glad you're here with us.
Let's stand to our feet as we sing and dance for Jesus.
I close my eyes and colors fly. There's no hiding from your grace. I can't deny your heart for mine, and it's unrelenting chase. I was on the edge of deception, caught up in my own hesitation, until your love took over me. So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis
It's game time.
Hebrews 11:1, faith. Have you ever been through a time in your life when you had trouble believing in something? Maybe it was hard to believe you could pass a test at school. Maybe it was hard to believe you would make new friends after moving to a new town. Maybe you have trouble believing that God is always with you and that He has a perfect plan for your life. The Scripture Ninja is here to tell you that God is always with you and that He wants what's best for you. He wants you to believe that He loves you. He wants you to know that He always has your back. God is in control. He wants us to trust Him even when we don't know what will happen next. He wants us to believe in Him even though we can't see Him with our eyes. And that, my students, requires faith. What is faith? Well, there's a scripture that explains it perfectly. Let's get started with today's scripture training. Everybody stand up on your feet. Let us begin. Today we focus on the ancient wisdom found in Hebrews 11:1. Let's read it together. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. Let's read it again. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. For the final part of today's training, let's do it again, but this time we'll combine it with some sweet ninja moves. Let's do this. Follow my epic ninja moves. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. Let's do it one last time, but this time put some extra ninja sauce on it. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. Now strike a sweet ninja pose. I'm so excited about this scripture that I think I'll do a ninja demonstration. I will now attempt to shatter a block of ice with my pinky. Bring in the ice. Thank you, Mr. Chuck the Dojo Rat. It's gonna take a lot of faith to make this happen. Let's do this. That's what I'm talking about. Well, it's time to say goodbye for now. I'll see you next time, Scripture Ninjas. Remember your training. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Smoke bomb!
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Hebrews, chapters 11 and 12.
Gotta have a little faith, 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 faith. Keep the faith. Take a leap of faith. You know, a lot of people toss around the word faith lately. We say you can break the faith, or just take it all on blind faith. But true faith isn't blind at all. It's much more than just an inspirational word. True faith has to do with believing in all the things you can't see, because you start with what you can see. Now, we can't see God with our physical eyes, but we can see the stories of people who came before us. They lived in a broken world like we do, but they chose to follow God. They chose to trust His promise that one day He would send a rescuer that would make everything right again. The writer of Hebrews in the New Testament tells us about some of these men and women in God's story. People like Noah, people like Abraham. When God called Abraham, he was already getting old. He and his wife Sarah didn't have kids.
Leave your country and your people. Leave your father's family. Go to the land I will show you. All nations on earth will be blessed because of you.
God was planning on sending His rescuer as one of Abraham's great, etc. grandchildren. But still, even though Abraham had God's promise, he still couldn't see the one God was sending. Still, Abraham went on a wild adventure, following God's call. And even his descendants, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, all chose faith in God. Moses, too, was called by God from the fiery heart of a burning bush. Even though he was raised by Pharaoh's daughter, he chose to stand with his own people and face Pharaoh's anger to win freedom. We read about it like this in the book of Hebrews.
Moses suffered shame because of Christ. He thought it of great value.
See, when you check out Hebrews, you discover this huge list of people who followed God by faith, so many that the writer just stops trying to list all of them. Oh, but we can't forget Israel's most important king, David.
Get up and anoint him. This is the one.
Even though God had promised David would be king, though, David spent years on the run from King Saul, fearing for his life. Still, he chose to trust God.
The Lord is my shepherd. He gives me everything I need.
Now, none of these people in the Old Testament could see with their eyes how God was going to save His people, but they could see how He was working in their lives, how their needs were being met. So they chose to believe in His greater plan. They chose faith.
Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. That is what the people of long ago were praised for.
Now, here's where the story turns. In Hebrews, we discover that none of those people in the Old Testament received what God had promised here on earth.
That's because God had planned something better for us, so they would only be made perfect together with us.
God's plan includes all of us from the very beginning of creation. So at just the right moment, at the perfect point in time, God sent his rescuer, the hero, his very own son, Jesus. Jesus showed us how to live. He showed us what God was like, and he told us the most important thing.
If you love one another, everyone will know you are my disciples.
Love God, love others. It's the heart of the whole story. But then, Jesus was killed, and his friends thought the story was finished. Period. Dot. The end. Until God raised him back to life. Jesus has defeated death, and those who follow him can live with him forever. But how do you follow someone you can't see? Well, that brings us back to faith.
Let us keep looking to Jesus. He is the one who started this journey of faith, and he is the one who completes this journey of faith. He paid no attention to the shame of the cross. He suffered there because of the joy he was looking forward to. So think about him. Then you won't lose hope.
The early believers, Peter and John and other followers of Jesus, had seen him teach and heal. They saw him after God raised him to life. But after Jesus returned to heaven, the believers continued to live by faith.
We have to speak about the things we've seen and heard.
Because of what the new Christians in the early church had seen, they could believe in what they could not yet see, the end of the story, where God makes everything right. They kept the faith, and because they did, we can choose faith too.
Wow, those were some incredible stories about people who chose to have faith in God.
You're right. Sometimes we don't know what will happen, but we can still choose to have faith in God and in his son Jesus.
And that's what we can remember today. You can know Jesus even though you've never seen him. Well, right now is time for our family small group.
Parents, gather together with your kids for a time of discussion and reflection, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Now it's time for family small group. With everyone watching together, start a short conversation with the questions that appear on the screen. Give everyone the opportunity to speak, and remember, there's not just one right answer. If we can't see Jesus, how do we know he's real? What do we see around us that helps us know God is real? When you have doubts about your faith, who can you talk to?
Thanks for joining us today.
It was so great to have you with us this week for OSC Kids at Home.
Parents, remember to check us out on all of our social media pages to stay up to date with what's going on at OSC Kids.
Also, registration for OSC Kids Camp starts June 14th, so check it out right here.
Remember, we love you, we miss you, and we're praying for you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.